Hi, I'm Abby from Abby's Den. Today I've got an interesting project. I've been asked to embroider some jeans, the back pocket of the jeans and possibly the hemline of these jeans with my fancy brother machine, which is an Innovis V5. It's a sewing and embroidery sewing machine. I have a selection of hoops that came with it and with some upgrades. And I'm just going to give you a little tour of the machine before we get cracking with what we need to do. So as I said, this Brother Innovis V5 has a few different ranges of stitches that it can do, but it also does something a little bit more fancy. It offers you embroidery. So all those fancy different stitches that you see, designs that you see on clothes that you've bought from the shops, you can actually emulate with this machine, and I want to guide you through that now. So we're going to show you just what's preloaded on the machine. So I'm going to tap the embroidery. Let me open this up, grab the stylus, and we'll tap on the embroidery. So the embroidery offers me lots of different sizes and styles of stitching already loaded in the machine. So if I tap on any of these, you can see here that I've got 12 pages of different styles. Because we need to get this into the machine and stitch underneath, because we do need to get the bobbin thread in there, we need to unpick this, unfortunately. So I've got my trusted stitch ripper, and it means I will need to do some sewing later when I re-stitch this, reapply this back onto the jeans. So let's unpick. Right, so I've unpicked the pocket. There we go, pick the pocket. So that's rubbish. So I've unpicked the pocket, and actually what I've just found, and you will have this on your jeans, is there's a press stud in there holding the jean pocket all the way through. Now I don't want to remove that. I have the tools to do that, but what will happen is I will end up with a hole in either the pocket or in the fabric, the main body of the jeans. Now the whole process is that we're updating our jeans and making sure we make them look better, not worse. So we're going to leave that stud in there because it's nice and secure, and I'm going to show a different method of placing this on the hoop rather than in the hoop. So we need something a bit more, a stabilizer on this occasion that's a little bit different, and this is from Visaline. It's Filmoplast. You can get other brands, you can get other makes. What it is a stabilizer. A stabilizer just really holds the fabric, prevents it from stretching as the fibres, the thread from the machine goes in there. So it stabilizes the fabric, but the thing about the Filmoplast is it's actually a sticky back plastic. So it has the interfacing side feel to it on both sides actually, but it's actually, if I can do this, it's actually sticky. Okay, so what I would do is I would place this into the hoop. So let's cut how much we need. So we're using a small hoop because that's just the right size for our pocket. You can see that there. So it's just enough space in the pocket, and we won't waste too much Filmoplast using a bigger hoop. So let's snip that away. Don't do this with fabric scissors. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll hoop it with the interfacing side down and the sticky side up. Like that, tighten it up. Make sure sure it's in there nice and firmly. And if you have a screwdriver, you can just tighten using that key. Okay, so now we want to just position our pocket in there. I'm going to place the whole of the jeans in the back there so that I can have the pocket sitting on there. What I need to do is cut into this. If I slice into this, but not slice into the interface, so a gentle cut. Let's do another slice there. What you need to do is just pull away the paper. And you can feel the tackiness from the sticky paper there, or the sticky interfacing, or sticky stabilizer, whatever you want to call it. Let's place this on the hoop, and we will need a few pins. So we've got the grid lines of there, and you should have your grid line from the hoop. I'm going to place it on there like that, and I've got my pocket nicely stuck down to the interfacing, but I will place a couple of pins in there anyway. And just watch you don't place your pins where your embroidery will stitch. Put it on the way. And this is called floating. I'm not normally a big fan of floating. I don't like to float fabrics. I do like to hoop them. The reason I like to hoop them over floating is because you do get a nice taut fabric in there, and the fabric doesn't seem to ripple as you stitch. But with this film or flat plast, you can make sure it's nicely firm in there on the stabilizer, and you shouldn't get any ripples. Right, now that's prepared, let's prepare the machine. At the space in which I want to place this design, so I can have it fairly wide, and I think the most I can go is about 90 millimeters. I can go quite tall as well, but I won't go bigger than 80 millimeters. So let's change the design. I'm going to use this square to make it bigger. So I'm going to go bigger and taller that way. I can go up to 90 millimeters that way, so carry on going a bit bigger. And if I go up to 87.5, I think that's fine. 70 millimeters tall is going to be fine. So I've got a design covering that area over there, and I think that will be fine. So it's taking up most of the design, most of the pocket. I'll close that there, and I'm happy with that, and it's going to be set to embroidery. First thing we're going to do is prepare the sewing machine for embroidery. Switch the machine off and make sure press the foots up, and I'm going to remove this extension box, which pulls off quite easily, and then place the embroidery arm on there very easily. It's not very heavy, and you can do this. It's very easy for anyone to do, and that's it, as easy as that. So switch the machine on, and it does give me a warning. It's recognised that the embroidery arm is in, and it tells me the carriage of the embroidery unit will move. So make sure you have lots of space around your machine. You don't want this arm to be knocking into anything. Although on this machine it's actually quite sturdy, technology has allowed these arms to get better and better over time. They still do move, so you need to make sure there's nothing around and in the way. Let's press OK. Use your stylus. That's prepared. So let's go back into the embroidery, and we're going to choose our design, and we need to make sure we choose our design. That's for the small pocket. Let's go back to the design we chose earlier, and we're going to set that into the machine. I'm going to change the size of that and make it bigger. Now, if I need to look down my list of threads and I need to choose the colours in the order it's going to stitch. It's highlighting for me here the red flowers, and it's telling me to put in the embroidery thread. Now this machine's set up to give me the numbers for the brother thread, so that's 807 in the brother thread. Embroidery thread, just thread up the machine. Now I've got something really fancy to show you here on this V5, which I love. Just tap this button here, so press the threading up button on this V5 and look at that, hey presto, doesn't matter that I need to wear glasses, the machine threads it for me. So that's my thread at the top already. And the other thing I wanted to mention was the bobbin thread not being the same colour as that, it actually has to have a different twist. So the twist on the thread I've got at the top is a 40, but the twist on here is actually a 90. So brother do supply you with your thread, your bobbin thread. So on this machine it's a green thread. They do supply you with your first reel, so you make sure that you use that. Don't skimp. I've seen lots of people using cheap threads. Please don't. You've bought yourself a fantastic Rolls Royce here. Why would you fill it with Halford's diesel oil? The next thing I want to mention is the needle. The needle that you use in your machine needs to be a specific embroidery machine. You tend to use 75 when you're using these machines, or because it's denim, I've actually pre-installed a 90, a size 90 needle in the machine because we're using a heavier fabric. Generally you will use a 75. So one more thing that we need to do is of course change the foot. We have been requested on here is to change to the foot W, and the foot on W is actually the embroidery foot. So we need to install the foot W. So there's our W, that's the circular embroidery hoop base there. We need to make sure this part is going onto the needle clamp so that it can spring up and down as it stitches. So make sure you install that, and it's pretty easy, simple as that. Just tighten it up, tighten up your screw. You can see that your needle's right in the centre. Let's tighten it up with a screwdriver, an extra little twirl, and we're in. As easy as that, quickly done, very easily done. So install the hoop, press down the clamp, and that will sit out of the way while I stitch. So let's put the press foot down, everything's in set, press the green for go, and let the machine do its thing. So let's install the green thread now, and this should take only a minute to stitch out. So follow the guides round. Let's cut that thread. And there we go. Let's make sure that thread's in. Press the foot down. And there we go. Let's go for white. So we're sewing the pocket now, but instead of doing straight stitches, I've decided to do a zigzag, just to add a little bit of flavour. Let's do it. Or not.
That has not a good idea if it's going to look different to all the other pockets, is it, Abby's dad?
Alright, let's not do that.
We want to keep a consistent look of double stitch.
Right, so the machine's set up for a straight stitch. I've put some denim strong thread in there that matches the colour of the thread in the jeans already. And let's just go for it. So just follow the original sewing lines on there and nobody will be the wiser.